Hi everyone, and welcome to my first episode. It will be how to do this 3D little witch hat here. And this is ShadowCat from Party on Supplies. You can check us out on our website, www.partyonsupplies.net. We do sell loom accessories, loom bands, and everything like that Rainbow Loom. So go and like that and take a look at that after the episode today. And let me know what you think. Today I figured we would do it in actually this purple color as the witch hat. So that would be this black part here. And then the band we're actually going to do as a green color. So hopefully that turns out nice and hopefully you guys like it. But again, you can choose whatever colors you would like for the two different colors. We will be having the board in the staggered formation, so make sure it is set up like that. And for this first layer, we will be using 6 purple bands, and we will actually be doing the bands 1B2X, as I like to say, just one band doubled. So I'm going to take it, double it. Then as we're putting it on, we're actually going to put a twist in it. Now this part of the witch's hat is the same design half as DIY Mommy. She is an awesome loomist out there, and you should go check out her stuff because she's pretty good. And I did learn a lot of my techniques from her. So what I'm doing here is one band doubled, and I'm working it around the outer edge here. And I keep, as I'm placing them, I keep making a figure 8. So this is 1, 2, and 3 bands so far. There's 4 bands. There is 5 bands. And here is the 6th band. And that creates layer 1. I want to push all those bands down because we're going to have more layers that are going to go down on top of them. Here is where we'll start with the green. And this will be layer 2, and it'll be 1B1X. So that's one band, one time around. No doubles or anything like that going on. Do that all the way around the outside. And once we've completed the circle, we'll take the crochet hook, and what we're doing, you can really see it nicely from the side. We've got the 2 different layers. We're going to be taking these lower bands from this lower layer, and we're going to be moving it to on top in the inside here. So it's useful to actually use the grooves that are already on the peg side of the board here, and grab all of the bands. And if you don't get all of the bands, that's okay too, because you can move them individually. Pull them out, up, and over to the center. You want to make sure to pull them out far enough that you don't catch these bands here on the top and knock them off. If you knock them off, it's kind of hard to reposition and put them back on. So you want to be careful to keep those securely where they are. And we're going to do that same step to all of these pegs on the outer side. Again, on mine, we're grabbing all of the purple bands on the bottom. I'm taking it out, up, and over to the center. Now, a lot of people find that this top one is kind of tricky, but all I do is go in from the side right underneath the center there, grab them, and bring them to the center again. So keep doing that all the way around. Now see, on this one, I left one there because it didn't get caught with the others, and that's okay, because then I can still go back down and take the time and grab just that one band. So if you can't grab them all at once, that's okay. After we've done that, we want to again push down all of our bands so we have room for another layer on top. This will be another layer of green bands, because this one here actually is only one layer of orange bands, but I thought it might be a little nicer to try 2 layers and make it a little bit thicker there. So if you want it just like this one, you're going to switch back to the purple here. Otherwise, if you want to try it a little bit thicker and we'll see how it comes out, we'll do it with the 2 bands, 2 rows. So again, this is 1 band. I'm going to place around the entire outer edge again. Alright, and after that we will loop it again. I'm going to do the same thing. Remaining from before, you should have 2 bands on each of these outer pegs. And these 2 bands, this time they're going to be green. We're going to pull those out, up, and over to the center. Pull them out, up, and over. Out, up, and over. Now this is still the same top half of the witch's hat that DIY Mommy does. The bottom half is going to be a little bit different than any of the other witches' hats I've seen out there. So hopefully that technique is going to be a little more helpful to some of you and a little more simpler. Although I really do like the technique that she has for the hat. Alright, so that was layer 3. Our layer 4, we're going to go back to the purple color. We're going to use 6 bands once again. That's 1 band on the outer edge of all of them. And push down your bands. Make sure you have the 2 different layers there. When it's really pushed down and separated, it's a lot easier to be able to grab the bands that you're needing to pull out, up, and over. Okay, now this is going to be the last time that we're grabbing the green bands. And it's going to go out up over the purple bands. So don't grab any of the purple bands when you're grabbing them. Up and over. Out, up, and over. Push them down for more on top. But before we put more on top, we're going to start to make the hat go more into a peak. So we're going to want to condense what we've got here. Right now, we've got it on 6 different pegs. We're going to take that down to only 4 pegs. It's going to be these 4. What we want to do here, we want to take one of the 2 bands. We want to see where that one's coming from. So we want to move it up to this spot. So we don't want the band that came from up there. We want the band that's coming from down here. And this band actually is the one that came from up here, so I'm going to put it in the center for a moment. Grab the next band. That one's the one coming from the bottom. So that's the one I want to move, and we're going to move it to up there. Then we're going to replace the first band that we took off. And we'll grab the two bands that are down here. We will move them up to this peg. So now we should have 3 bands on this one and 3 bands on this one. We're going to do the same idea over here. We're going to take this one. This is connected to the lower one, so that's the one we want. We're going to move it up. And then we're going to take the 2 lower ones. We're going to move that up. Just like that. So now we've got 3 bands on this one and 3 bands on this one. And it's on 4 little pegs. So that was our condensing it. The next layer that we are going to do now is layer 5. And this will be purple again. We'll take 4 bands this time on this layer. These are all single bands. And this time when we grab the lower bands to go out, up, and over like we've been doing, we're actually going to grab the 3 that I said was going to be on each peg. And again, if you can't grab them all at once, that's okay. This time I'm not. Grabbing 2 in that one. I'll go back for the 3rd one. Just do that on all of the sides. All of the pegs. Alright, that was layer 5. Push your bands down again. And this time, there should be 2 bands on all of the outer sides. We'll add another layer, and this is going to be layer 6. And this time we're going to take only 2 bands. And we'll put both of those bands on actually all 4 pegs. 2 bands is covering all 4 pegs this time. We'll keep doing the same idea as the out, up, and over, pulling those 2 bands, the bottom 2 bands, out and over to the center. And once again, we'll press the bands down. Now we'll do layer 7. This layer is also going to be a purple band, but we're only going to take 1 purple band this time. So it's getting smaller as it's getting to the point of the hat. And we'll do the same thing once again, the bottom 2 bands, out, up, and over to the center. Make sure you don't knock off that top band. Same as all the others, grab the crochet hook, grab it out, each of the bands onto the hook. Pull that down a little bit. That gave us a nice thick band on the witch's hat this time. We should have 4 bands on the top. We'll take 2 purple bands, And we will do a slip knot through all of those. So put the 2 bands on your hook, put on your finger, keep the tension, because if you lose the tension here, right in here, it's going to make it really hard because it's going to lose some of these bands, and you don't want to lose those bands. A little trick I do is if I turn this hook facing the other direction and I pull down on this while I'm keeping the tension on this finger, it'll create kind of a little area where this can kind of just pull right on through and not actually catch on any of the bands. Once you get it through, grab the other side and reclaim. And then you're going to just do a normal slip knot, which for those of you that don't know how, I will set it up like this so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Got the 2 bands here, and we've got the 2 bands over here. We're going to take these 2 bands, the back 2, we're going to pull it up and over the front 2. Then we're going to pull it nice and tight. Now, I'm not just pulling on the bands alone, I'm pulling more at the bases of both sides so it doesn't have any chance of ripping or breaking. Now, that made it a little bit stronger having 2 bands, and the way we can deal with that if we don't want to have 2 bands at the top of our creation, we can go in through the bottom center, find a little spot at the top, and poke our hook through, grab one of the bands, and if you pull out a little bit, it helps it to not get caught as you're going back through. And just pull the band down in the center there. Then let go of it. This way, at the end, the charm is only going to have one little hook to hang on. If this breaks, it's still going to stay together because the bands aren't going to come apart as easy. So we'll set that piece aside, and we will start the rim of the hat next. For the rim of the hat, we'll need our boards again. And this time, it'll be all purple. And we're going to be taking 2 bands each time. We'll just only need 1 strip here. We'll put 2 bands going down all the way down each time. And if they're twisted, I like to make them a little bit straighter. There's no twists in the bands. The less twists, the better. If you're trying to get twists out, a good tactic is to grab the crochet hook like this and just go around in a circle. And that kind of just takes out all the twists and makes it nice and straight for you to be able to work with. I'm doing 2 bands. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of the board. And if I'm going too fast, I can just pause the video and catch up to me and then continue the video again. Alright, once we get to the bottom, we'll want to take 1 single band. We're going to put a capping band on it. And this is going to be a 1B3X capping band, which means 1 band 3 times around. This is the way I like to do it. Some people do it in their fingers. But I just put it on the peg, give a twist, loop it around, that's 2, and that is 3. And the way you can tell that's 3 is you can actually count the bands on the edge here. I don't know if I can get a good view, but there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And these 2 are the bottom bands, so those are separate. But that is your cap right there. So now we'll weave this up like normal, which means you want to, again, have that separation there. And you'll go in through the center of the peg, keep your hook facing forward. You'll go in, you'll pull back that capping band. So you can see from on top how it makes a little triangle. When you pull back that capping band, you want to go down, use that little groove that Rainbow Loom has in their boards, grab the two bottom bands and pull those around the peg there and up to the next peg. Now be careful, because sometimes you can lose your capping band when you do that. So if you do, just make sure there's two bands on that bottom again, put the capping band back on 3 times around, and try it again. After you get past that, it does get a little bit easier, because then you can see this little teardrop shape first of all. That means that that is a proper weave. You want to see that. Teardrop shapes are good, so make sure you've got those as you're going through. But you'll reach in through the center of that teardrop shape, and you can see the two purple bands at the bottom there. You'll grab those two bands, you pull them out, and pull them up to the next peg. Now, it always helps to make the end of the hook go the direction that you want to pull and have your bands release. So on this one, again, I'm going to grab the bottom two bands. I'm going to pull it up. And I can hook it on, and since it's pulled up, I just slide it right on back, and the hook comes out nice and easy. Keep doing that. And weave that all the way up to the top. Okay. Once we are at the top, we'll take one more band. We'll take our hook and we'll put it through that top little triangle. We'll grab the band, pull it back through. We'll do a slip knot here, which is taking the band in my fingers and pulling it through the one on the hook. So I'm going to slide that band up, grab the lower one, pull it through the upper one, and then we'll take it off of the board. I find an easy way on this particular design just to grab this bottom in the hook and pull up. And if you pull up and back, it'll kind of just prong it right on off. Then I always carefully take the last top one off. That's always a little more delicate. So now we have the long strip that's going to be going around the witch's hat. We have one single band here. We want to actually make this a little bit longer. So we're going to grab another single band, and we're going to do a slip knot with the two bands. So we're going to go through one, grab the other one, pull it back through, and tighten that into a knot. And we're going to do that until it makes 4 bands here. So this is 1, 2, this is going to be 3, and we'll do one more. So again, there's the existing band. I'm going to pull that through a little bit. So it's kind of crisscrossing between the bands here. I'm going to take the hook, I'm going to go from the underside forward, come through, reach the other one, pull that back through, making the slip knot, and pulling up. That's 1, 2, 3. We'll do it one more time. And there is 4. So now we have this nice long tail. And this is what we're going to use to weave into this part of the hat. Now, as you're looking at it, you can see that around this outer edge, there's actually 4 bands, 4 purple bands here. We only need to worry about these top 2 purple bands. So we're only going to use 2 of the 4 purple bands as we work our way around. We're going to be attaching this around it. So just for getting the feel of it, it's always helpful to pre-put it around. You can see how it's going to look. And what you're doing is this bottom layer right here is what we're going to tie through to connect to those two purple bands that I was just talking about. So as we take this away, we can see that that's this section right here that I'm talking about. And it's important to keep all of your weavings of this going through this section and those two. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start on our top half. We're going to start from the center here, and we're going to go through those two. We're going to grab our tail there. We're going to pull it through. And that is going to be our starting location. You can see how it's going to go around there. We're actually going to weave it this way around. And we're going to go every single one on this one. And on this one, we're going to go every other. So we've gone through this one. I'm going to skip this one. This is going to be our next one to attach. And since this tail is facing this way this time, we're going to start our hook from this side. We're going to go through those two bands right here. So again, it's bands, skip bands, bands. Then we're going to go through those top two purple bands on the hat. Once all four of those bands are on the hook, we're going to grab the end. We're going to pull it through. We're going to keep doing that all the way around. This next time, since this tail is facing this way, we're going to start our hook from this side. So we're going to go through the two bands here, and it's just a matter of weaving it back and forth. Remember, we're through two bands, so we're going to skip two bands. So we're going to go through these two bands here. We'll go through those. Grab our little extension piece. Make sure not to catch any other bands as you're going through. Pull that around and nice and tight. Not too tight because this is only one band. We don't want to break it. Alright. So now our tail is going the direction of the hat. So we want to come in from this outer side here. Again, we're always coming in on this inner edge right there. We just did this one, so we're going to skip this one. We're going to go through those two bands here. Then we just did that one, so we're going to go through these two bands here. Grab our tail. Pull it on through. Now you can kind of see it from the other side, how it's starting to attach there and all. We'll keep it going. So our tail is on this side this time, so we're going to start with our hook coming in from this one. Our last one over here was right there. So this is our next one. We're going to go through the two bands here. Now, it's okay if you accidentally miss both bands and you get one band, or if you get three bands, or if you want to do all four. I just found two is the easiest. So last one we went through here. So we're going to skip that one, and we're going to go through this one now. We're going to grab our tail. Pull it through all four of those bands. Now, our tail is from the inside. We're going to come from the outside. Just did that one, so we're going to skip that one. We're going to go through that one. Get the two there. Grab our tail. Pull it through all four of those. keep working around. So our tail's going that way. So we're going to start through the center here. Now, this is actually the same center spot that we started in the initial beginning. So we can either go through those two, or we can go through those two. This will make it a little bit stronger, but this will keep it a little more even. I'm going to go with the even for now. And I'm actually going to go through the 3 bands here, which make up the cap band. That was at the very bottom of that strip. I'm going to pull the band, the tail, through those 3 bands and then those 2 bands. Then, actually going to go back through the cap band, because you see this little open gap here. We want to kind of get rid of that gap. So I'm going through the 3 bands on the cap band. I'm going to go through the end bands right there. I'm going to pull my tail through all of that. Now see, that actually closed it up a little bit more over there. So it doesn't have the open gap. If you have trouble with that area, that's okay. You can have it as a little bit of a gap too, that's fine. Now, to take care of the tail, the easiest thing actually is to just take this little loop and go up and over the top of the hat, and then to roll it on down. Now, sometimes that'll give a little bit of a piece out here that you can see. If you don't really want to do that, then you can actually find a way to tuck it in and hide it, which would be more of a going through a couple more bands here in the center, pulling it that way through. Then, sorry. Then as it gets more into the center, to wrap it around and push it down. And you can always, again, put this on the top of a pen or pencil. I don't have one, but I have a crochet hook. I can show you with that. And it makes a little pencil topper. So I hope you liked the witch's hat today. And I hope you found it pretty useful and learned some new things with it. And again, check out our store. Go to partyonsupplies.net and buy some bands or some creations or something like that. And like below. And I'll be doing actually a lot more in the Halloween line because, well, my birthday is the day before Halloween. And I love doing Halloween things. So I look forward to seeing you in the future for some upcoming cool events I've got going on. Thanks much. Bye, guys.